Hi wives, this is part 2 in how to demonstrate biblical qualities in your marriage. And today I'm going to be looking at 1 Peter chapter 3. For wives, it's going to start in verse 2. And in verse 2 it says, as they observe your chaste and respectful behavior. Now, that sounds really funny, but if you go back and look at part 1 where I talk about being respectful to your husband from the Ephesians 5, it's that the first part of that is, wives, be submissive to your own husbands, so that even if any of them are disobedient to the word, they may be won without a word by the behavior of their wives, as they observe your chaste and respectful behavior. And so again, we're back to respecting, doing things with reverence, doing things that uplift and encourage your husband, your home, your family, and doing them for Christ. And then we go on down and down to 3. It's talking about your adornment and your outward adornment in verse 3. I'm not saying you shouldn't wear hair clips or put on makeup, but don't make that your goal. Our beauty has to come from our inside out, regardless of whether we wear makeup or don't wear makeup. And then in verse 4 it says, but let it be the hidden person of the heart, with the imperishable quality of a gentle and quiet spirit, which is precious in the sight of God. So, I'm a pretty bold, outgoing person. God gave me a mouth. He made me a speaker and a teacher. And so it seems kind of funny to me sometimes to say, okay, what's a quiet spirit? Because when I'm out and about doing things, I don't feel real quiet sometimes. I just feel very bold and outspoken. But when I'm with my husband, that's not going to work so well. He's not necessarily going to take that so much. So I have developed a way of speaking publicly and then being able to come home and bring it down a notch or two and approach him from a more quiet, calm place and from a place of the Spirit. In verse 6 in 1 Peter 3, it says, Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord, and you have become her children if you do what is right without being frightened by any fear. Okay, so do I run around calling my husband Lord? No. Sorry, don't. But I don't think this is here telling us today that that's what we're supposed to do. What it is doing is it's telling us to do the right thing and to not be afraid to do the right thing. So when you look at what's going on between you and your husband, what's the right thing for him in that moment, even when you're just wanting to explode maybe. So take a deep breath, slow down, ask the Lord for that quiet spirit, and then ask the Lord what the right thing is to do. We're also supposed to demonstrate unity. In verse 8 it says, to sum up, let all be harmonious, sympathetic, brotherly, kind-hearted, and humble in spirit. So we are to pursue unity. Unfortunately, sometimes I see no matter what one spouse says, the other one's going to disagree with them just automatically. And that's just totally wrong. So see if you can find common ground where you can gently discuss a situation, demonstrate some compassion. That's in verse 8. Show reciprocal love, be courteous in these conversations so that you can be partners and move in the same direction and not feel like you're battling each other when you've got a whole world out there that wants to battle against you and against your marriage. Don't help them. Just be gentle of spirit, cooperative, loving, and find a way to agree with one another. On verse 9, not returning evil for evil or insult for insult. We just talked about that a little bit, didn't we? Don't just go, well, he did that to me, so I'm going to do this to him, and he doesn't deserve it. You want to be giving. Be a blessing instead, for you were called for the very purpose that you might inherit a blessing. So we're called to bless our husbands and not curse them. We are called to look for an opportunity to be on their side and not go, well, you did this bad thing to me, so I'm going to do that bad thing to you. So the Bible is really clear in these verses to watch out for that. Verse 10, let him who means to love life and see good days refrain his tongue from evil and his lips from speaking guile. So basically, how you speak to your husband is also very important. Watch your tongue. You may need to confront him. You may need to tell him something's not right, but you can do that in a gentle, kind way. You don't have to just, call him names or put him down or tell him he's an idiot because he didn't do something right. But simply encourage him that, hey, this is not going well and I think there's information that you don't have. Can we look at this a different way? So you want to do good for him. In verse 11, and let him turn away from evil and do good. Let him seek peace and pursue it. This is a part of our job too. Both spouses need to be pursuing peace with one another and to do it in as gentle a fashion as possible. I'm Dr. Pauline Dillard, and this has been A Marriage Moment.